No! No! No!
Extravaganza.
Happy Thanksgiving.
I was not expecting that.
I hope the camera cut to you so I can go back and see the look that was on your face. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Because I have determined this episode I'm going to release it on Thanksgiving. This one's going to come out a day early so that it does come out on Thanksgiving, being a special Thanksgiving episode. But yes, I'm glad you did not expect the woo.
How could you?
No one ever did. I don't even think I did. I was like, wow, what just happened? This is the Horror Pop Extravaganza, episode 54. This is that place where the macabre meets the mindful. And we got a good one for you today. But before we can talk about how good it is, smothered in gravy, who do I have with me today to discuss this gem, this piece of cinematic fucking history?
You got Harry Nuts with a K.
Mm.
The K is important.
Silent. It is important. That's very important. Important. I don't even know where I'm going. So Harry Nuts, but it's
Nuts.
nuts.
The K is
Nuts.
silent.
But it has some little. It still makes a little like meh.
It's like
Nuts.
nuts. Yeah,
Nuts.
got it.
Yeah, it has that.
Got it.
There's a draw at the beginning of the nuts. Okay.
Hey, Pops, I wrote a joke for you.
Oh, I can't wait.
Are you ready?
Yeah,
What comes out when a ghost farts?
I don't know why.
Rectal plasm.
Perfect joke, dude.
Yeah, I wrote it down in case I forgot it.
Yeah, please text that to me though, because I do kind of want to draw a two-panel, like quick little 5-minute comic of that, of two ghosts. You know what I mean? Like one just telling it to the other one, like yo, because that's funny as shit, dude. Oh, that's good. That's better. Okay. Today, I don't know how to even introduce this one, how to talk about this movie. I told you last time we talked, I said, I can't believe we're going to do this. Like, I hope you're ready for this shit. We're going back to 2008 for episode 54. 2008. So, what was going on in 2008? 2008.
I don't know. I feel like it was a better time though.
I don't know. I was just leaving the ship. I think I was going to Great Lakes to go teach up there for a while at a school. But I'm trying to think movies that were really hitting. But again, that period of my life, it was like, military time is weird. Like you don't see shit. You don't know when shit's coming out. Like something will be there. So it's all just kind of jumbled together. There's certain ones I know where I saw for sure, like The Devil's Rejects and some other shit. But this movie, I know I didn't see anywhere. I don't know the first time I saw Thankskilling. It is, if you like schlock, I mean the schlockiest of schlock.
Yeah, it is schlocky, dude. And what upset me as I was watching it is that it really reminded me of my early films.
Right.
Like the acting and shit. I was like, oh shit, like this is this dude's friends. Like
but this I do believe knows exactly what it was from the beginning. It's a trauma thing. It is so tongue-in-cheek that you can't even take it remotely close to serious.
Right.
Because the acting can be so bad because the actual writing is so bad, the content is so bad, but the idea is just stupid enough, and you animate a turkey. Well, puppet. This is
animate a turkey. Animation is really giving it a lot of credit.
Yeah. We do get a cool ghost turkey sequence, but you have a puppet turkey and you make it kind of enjoyable, and you let people know right from the get-go, like this is just fucking ridiculous. Like and
from frame one,
there are sequels to this thing. It has gained a certain degree of a cult following that people are like, yo, fucking Thankskilling. I was reading a thing the other day, some article, or maybe it was on Reddit. Somebody's like, "Yo, what do you horror movies around Thanksgiving time?" And a couple people mentioned Blood Rage, and I was like, "Sweet." And then you get this mentioned quite a few times, along with Poultrygeist and some of the other ones that go down, the kind of weird holes. This goes in some weird holes. This goes in
It goes
some
some
weird
weird
holes.
hole. Yeah, yeah, it does. It really does.
So why don't you? I don't even know what IMDb is going to have about this. I hope it
Yeah.
has a little snippet of something. Why don't you mention the people who made this thing, how it happened, who directed it, who wrote it, maybe a couple of the names that are in it. I'm not sure that anybody went on to have an illustrious career in Tinseltown after Thankskilling, but that does not mean they're not worth mentioning. And then tell us, what does IMDb, the Internet Movie Database, believe that Thanksgiving from 2008 is about?
What really stands out to me first is that there are three writers listed. Did they take turn writing sentences?
Probably mid-sentence, pass it off.
You're garbage. But it was directed by Jordan Downey, who's also one of the writers. I also learned as I was reading about this that they shot it over 11 days.
That's why
And
they
man,
never
they
changed
made
clothes. Yeah, that's why they made it work, dude.
they made every day count.
We're sitting here talking about this movie. We'll get into a lot of this movie, but yes, yes, by all means.
Really, so the cast is a bunch of unknowns, but we start off with probably the only name in the entire movie, and that is Wanda Lust. And she's the pilgrim in the very opening scene of the movie. And we're going to do things a little different this week. Instead of picking all of the people that deserve to have their name mentioned in a movie, I would just like to read a couple of the titles of Wanda Lust's previous films.
Good.
Number one, Girl Swirl. Number two, MILF Does a Brother Good. MILF 30. MILF Does a Body Good too. Now, this one says Body Good, but the first one says Brother Good. So is that another franchise or a sequel? We might never know. How about Lesbian MILFs too? Older women, younger women. Thankskilling. Hawk smoking grannies. Older women, younger men 11. Her first older woman 2. Her first older woman 6. Why wasn't she
I
in 3,
get it.
4,
I
and
get
5?
it. I get where we're going here. I get where we're going here. So she's
Oh, and
already
Thanksgiving 3.
traction. And what? Thanksgiving 3.
Yeah,
Oh,
Thanksgiving 3.
she did come back for the third one,
She
which I
also
don't
said
know
that out
if
of
there's technically a second one. I
there
thought,
is no second one
yeah,
though.
they skipped it, right? And just put
Right.
a third one out. Right. Okay.
But Wanda Lust said that out of all the films she's ever made, the only one she regrets is Thanksgiving.
That's fantastic, man.
All right, you ready to hear what IMDb says this movie's about?
Yes.
Here it comes. A homicidal turkey axes off college kids during Thanksgiving break. The end.
I mean, that's kind of, let's talk about it. Let's just talk about it.
Let's
So
go through it.
let's go through it because you don't have a lot of Thanksgiving horror movies out there. We talked about Rage. We talked about Thanksgiving from, I think it was last year, that Eli Roth vehicle that's whatever, the Pilgrim Killer and that. And so you have some things here and there, but there's not really a ton. And this one, and I say it again, I said it last week. I was like, this is some shit. Like we're getting into some. I have a really good friend, one of my oldest friends on the planet. Dude taught me to tattoo. We've been hanging out for a lot of years, like since the second grade, a lot of years. And he's a big Star Trek guy. And I'll ask him about the different shows and shit because I don't have the time to watch it all. I'll be like, oh, was this one good? Was that one good? This, that, and the other. He hasn't been, I don't know if he's still watching a ton of it all right now, but it'll be like, it doesn't really matter. That's my team. That's what I root for. So I take the good with the bad. It doesn't, I'm not in it for that. Like it's all part of one big connected thing. I'm kind of the same way. I feel the same way with horror movies where I just take it and I'm like, yes, I will accept this for what it is. And there is an audience for this shit. There has been for a while. There's
Obviously, yeah.
right. There's an audience for everything. But on the surface level, I think a lot of people would approach this and be like, what the fuck?
Right. Yeah. No, if you were looking for something to just pop on for a good watch, like this ain't it.
No, this is not what you do. But you take the good with the bad, and I think there's a little bit of good in everything, you know. And even in this, there's some cool effects. I love the fucking ideas a couple times. Like the way they present it, I'm like, that's good, dude. Like that's kind of funny. I get what you're trying to do there, and that's okay. But had you ever heard about this movie prior to our relationship?
I had heard about it, yeah, like as a whisper. Like there's this movie where they don't even fucking try, and the killer turkey's just a hand puppet.
Mhm.
And you know, you've turned me on to some things before, some low budget stuff like street trash, things that put a bad taste in your mouth. This movie was that. It put a bad taste in my mouth. It ruined Thanksgiving for me forever. And I got the humor. I got what they were trying to do with it, but man, the execution is poor. If it would have been better, I don't know if I would have liked the movie better though.
Right, right. I think there's a certain level of this is exactly what it is. I don't think you could ever get away with it in even with a big budget. Like you couldn't, this movie, it would be so hard to pull off. It just
Right.
doesn't make a ton of sense. We open up. It's what do they say? The olden days, like 1620
The
something
olden
or
days,
other.
the first hours after the first Thanksgiving or something like that.
Oh yeah. And you just open up on a nipple. And then it pans out to Wanda Lust, and you just see two boobies just hanging in front of the thing. They tell you right away what we're here for. Like, this is going to be ridiculous from the onset. So we see her after the first Thanksgiving, and then she's running away, and there's a turkey.
Why are her boobs out?
Because that's what you did back, you know, when you're making some schlock like this, you're just like, it doesn't
They
matter.
literally. I thought watching this, I was
You'll
like, oh,
draw
this is gonna
them
get
in.
her. What's that?
I said that's how you draw the audience in. You just like put the
Oh,
boob in there at the very first frame, giant
yeah.
boob.
And it worked for me. I was like, oh, this has got titties in the very first frame. So at least if the movie's bad, I'm gonna get to see a lot of titties. Nope, they only had enough money to pay one girl to show her titties,
Yeah. And that
and
was
she regrets it.
of all the pornos she made. She regrets this. Anyway, she gets hacked up by the turkey. And then I don't remember how he gets trapped, though, or he only comes back every 500 and some odd years,
Yeah,
right?
like 505 years or something.
Right. Yeah. And they're like, oh, wouldn't that be tonight? And he's like, no, 45 minutes from now. Anyway, that's still a ways into the plot. We jump forward to Billy and I can't remember the other kid's name, the star quarterback or the backup quarterback because he got hurt, getting out for like Thanksgiving break. And he's ripping his shirt all open. And he's like, oh, I'm hoping it'll make the other girls show their boobies if I show my boobies. Put out a little
So
bit. Yeah.
that whole character is just gross, dude.
He's kind of gross. Anyway, the whole thing barely makes sense. Let's really put that out there. Like you have to come into this thing and throw everything you believe to the wind and just forget about it. So Billy and the quarterback and then his girlfriend, then the promiscuous girl and the nerd. Essentially all, you know, you're just pick up your book at the bookstore, you know, the 46 main archetypes or whatever and you just plug in the ones that work. And so
Yep.
we've got all these characters that get put together. The nerd, though, he keeps like wiping his mouth and shit. I just remember like,
Yeah, that upset me a lot. I was like, why does he keep wiping his mouth? What is it? Did someone come in there? What's going on? Maybe.
possibly.
And the nerd is just like, I'm
Meanwhile,
gonna get laid with somebody in this car.
right.
And I was like, what? That's rapey.
And she's like, ew,
Yeah,
gross.
she's like,
But I like
oh,
Johnny. And the other girl's like, yo, your legs are harder to close than the John Benet Ramsey case and says that shit like 3 times.
yeah, I know. And they're like, man, that shit is good.
It slaps
I
every time it hits.
was like, what
Right.
the
In the
fuck?
meanwhile, though, we do see the hermit. That's how the turkey comes back is the hermit's dog, not Lassie. I think Flashy was the dog's name. And is just like trotting through the woods and he's like, oh, Flashy, da 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 da. and the dog goes to piss on like just some little fucking stick figure that's in the woods, and then all of a sudden you get the turkey pops up like, rah, hey motherfuckers, it's time to do some crazy shit. Um, Kind of like the what was it, A Nightmare on Elm Street 4, where the dog pisses and it pisses fire, and then Freddy comes fucking back. I believe it was in 4. So anyway, the hermit is running around the woods. He sees the turkey first, and he's got like a sweet old school Misfits tattoo on one
Yeah.
arm and a fucking old school eagle on the other arm. And he's just running around like, "You already took my wife. You ain't taking my fucking dog." And even though I don't know if we ever met his wife, maybe
No, he's a hermit now, dude. He says, I'm just an old hermit living in this shack in the woods.
they
Thanks
call
for
him
the
Hermit.
exposition, partner.
They call him Hermit the whole time. They're just like,
Yeah. And
"Yeah."
why isn't he wearing a shirt? In the whole beginning of this movie, nobody has a shirt on.
He has his little overshirt on. It's like a vest opened up like flowy, so he can move nice, and yeah, it's beautiful. So Hermit, so Hermit's chasing Turkey. She gets a call. Our good girl gets a call from her dad, who is drinking the coffee. He's drinking the coffee, and he's got like a pasted on Groucho Marx looking mustache.
Worst, dude. And he's supposed to be a sheriff. He's
Right.
got like a badge out of a fucking 25-cent machine, and his shirt's all wrinkled.
Well, apparently he's very negligible at work and at home, because he goes to drink his coffee and he's like, "Pah!" He's like, "This tastes like shit." He's like, "What'd you do, woman? Take a dump in that?" And she's like, "Yes." And fucking grabs the coffee pot and shakes it around, and there's a turd in there in the coffee. I wanted to
There's
more.
a couple turds in there. Like she did a full shit right in his coffee.
It's like a nice nod to like old John Waters, you know what I mean? Like back doing that crazy shit like Pink Flamingos and stuff. Even though I doubt those are real turds in this movie, whereas in his they were real dog turds that the great divine devours.
Yuck.
It's a great movie. It's a fucking weird movie, but it's a great movie. So dad gets the call from his daughter, and he's like, "Oh, the big Sheriff County Thanksgiving dress up contest is going on. Will you be my date to this thing? Also, your mom's leaving. Goodbye." And hangs the phone. A lot of the dialogue just and they I think that's to your point, it works here. If they were trying to be any more serious, it's gonna fucking fall flat, you
Right.
know. And at this time they're out in the woods because the car broke down, and now they're all gonna camp and have some beers. That's when they meet the hermit is the next morning, even though who goes, I don't remember all who goes with where, but I feel like we lose somebody relatively close to here, somewhere in the woods, but maybe not. Maybe they all do get out of the woods. But the turkey almost gets him. But he's like, the hermit showed up and he's like, "Oh, yeah, motherfucker, I saved you. You got turkey turds all over you. He's about to peck your eyes out and shit." And he's like, "Oh, yeah, okay, whatever." I don't fucking know, dude. This movie's hard.
I
Um,
love that they get in the Jeep and the top is down so they can all fit in it. And then for no fucking reason, the next shot, they're all enclosed in the Jeep. And I know why. It's because the wind fucks up your sound. So
Loud.
that's why they had to put the top on.
You chainsaw, original chainsaw. Terry McMinn was telling me that shit. She was like, "Yeah, dude, it was so hot because we had to have the windows up in the van the whole time we were shooting all that. One of the hottest summers on record in Texas, and it was, yeah, no air conditioning, you know,
Imagine the smell of that van, dude.
uh,
Right.
moist, moist.
Moist,
The
to
word
say
you're
the
looking
least.
for, yeah, moist. So the hermit is now hunting for the turkey. They wake up in the morning, he talks to them. Now we're gonna go to her dad's house, or yeah, because he's got books, right? Let's go to the library. No, never mind. Why don't we go to your dad's? He's got books. They couldn't, there's no budget to go shoot at a library anywhere.
No, fuck no.
And then, but they drop old girl off. That's right. They drop the promiscuous one.
Yeah.
She just got another dude ready.
Yeah.
Why don't you walk us through what happens next?
I don't even remember, dude.
Okay.
Like
I
It's
think
just
when I mentioned it, you're gonna remember. She takes this guy into her bedroom. She's like, "Oh, my parents are totally cool with it. Don't worry about it." He's
right.
like behind her on the bed, giving her the business, and then the turkey shows up behind him, kills after the turkey hitchhikes. We forgot about that. We'll get back to the sex, the hitchhiking. The turkey fucking the guy opens the door for the turkey, and everybody just treats his turkey like it's a regular person. And sometimes they call it a little person, or sometimes some derogatory terms that I'm glad we've gotten away from up until this point in the world. But he's like ass, gas, or grass, like whatever. And the turkey's like, ah, fuck, I ain't got no weed or no fucking money. So and gets in. He's looking at the turkey like, yeah, bro, like that's nice. And then he's like, call your fucking wife when he puts the shotgun, or call your daughter. I'm coming home. And then shoots a dude in the face, which was kind of traumatic when you say it out loud. Either way, she's getting the business from this boy because she wanted Johnny. That was his name, Johnny. She wanted Johnny, but Johnny's not going to give her anything. So she's got some guy lined up. He's behind her. And then he gets killed. The turkey gets behind her. And he's like, ha, you just got stuffed, bitch. Like she's like, "Oh, Johnny, you're usually not this fast," or something like that. And they even find a little micro-sized gravy covered or gravy flavored condom wrapper outside, and they're like, "Oh no!" Or
Dizzy
no,
practices
that's
sex
what
when he's
Billy.
raping.
Yeah, that's what Billy's like. Oh, I knew she was getting on to me because they're all it's weird. The whole thing is strange. Either way, now she's dead because he breaks her neck in the room. They are going to go to her dad's house, but the turkey shows up at her dad's house first. Her dad's already dressed like a turkey.
Fucking dumb, dude. It's so dumb.
Her dad's already dressed like a turkey because he wants to win the police turkey dress up contest. So her dad's already dressed like a turkey, and then the turkey shows up wearing a old school nose, like Groucho mustache, glasses disguise that you would get at the nickel and dime in the 1940s. Let's
Yeah.
play pretend and shit. He shows up and he's like, "Oh, hey, is your daughter around?" And he's like, "Oh, hey, little friend of my daughter's, come on." And they're just sitting at the table together, chatting for a while. And the turkey's got his face in the fuck coffee, like, is that hazelnut? Uh, this is getting kind of awkward, isn't it? And you have this bizarre exchange between these two, but the dad is just completely buying it. Fast forward, the kids get to the house, and I feel like there's some other funny shit that happens in here, but the kids get to the house. She knocks on the door like, "Hey, yeah, this is where my dad's got books. We'll go get my dad's books because there'll be a book that'll tell us how to stop the turkey." Because our a studious nerd type character, or studious, I don't even know. He was like, "Oh yeah, there's the old fucking crawdad folklore or whatever about the turkey." And then the white man came and took some land from the native people who were there. And they put a curse on the people that was like, "Oh, you fucked us over. Now I'm coming back to kill all you motherfuckers." Because when he kills, what's her name? The prostitute, or not the prostitute, but the porn star at the beginning, he's got a hatchet and he's smacking her in the face and shit like that. And some of the effects are actually pretty decent in this thing. They do, try to.
What? I
Some of them are
was
actually
like,
not terrible.
Pops loves himself a natural kill, like a real good, like practical effect.
Yeah.
Isn't that? This is not that.
No, but right now this movie is the equivalent to me of reading like Mad Magazine. It's you have to take it in a different way. You have to eat that in a different way. You have to approach that in a different way because if you don't, it's like this fucking what? What? This barely makes any sense. But every month I still read Mad Magazine. I love that it comes with the DC digital shit. So where were we? We were
They were
her
we the,
dad. Her
her
dad.
dad answers the door. Her
Yeah.
dad answers the
Right.
door.
Yes. So her dad is just the turkey with a leather-faced version of the dad's face on its face, and it's like, "Oh, hey, baby girl, come on in." And she's like, "Oh, dad, you look different." And he takes the hat off, and she's like, "Oh, a haircut. That makes sense." Like, "Oh, hey, Mr. Whoever." And now we've got Billy the nerd, Johnny, and I can't remember her name, all in this spot together. Billy starts getting really hungry, and we get a montage of them reading books for a while. But Billy's like, "Man, I'm
A
starving."
full montage of them reading books, dude. And they're reading, and it's just really dumb and like just taking time. And then the book that he finds that's the mystical book is one that he obviously made in art class. Like it's like the worst fucking made little book thing.
It's not the
And
next
again, it
Comic-Con.
reminded me, we created a book called the Book of Magic and Wizard Spells so that we could have all kinds of silly shit in it. And it looked about the same, like it was all cut out and stuff.
Yeah, kind of pasted together. Hey,
Yeah,
the idea is there, though. The idea is there. Look, like I said, we're still sitting here talking about this movie that only
we are.
comes in like, excuse me, only like an hour and 7 minutes or something.
Yeah, it's lean. Thank God.
Right. I don't know if I could have taken much more.
That's what I'm thankful for this Thanksgiving is that this movie was short.
You have that moment of like, what are you all thankful for? And he's like, you're right. The weirdo's like, I'm gonna get laid and I'm gonna have sex with someone who's not my hand. And I'm gonna, yeah, strange.
Yeah.
Anyway, back to the turkey wearing her dad's mask. Billy and the dad is interacting with everybody, and everybody's just like, oh, okay, this makes total sense. Until one of them comes out of
The
the
fat boy comes out to eat. They're like, God, if you got to eat, go look in the
right, right,
refrigerator.
right,
He
right,
sees the turkey dragging the dad with like jelly all over his face.
right. But how does he? Because then he just continues to go on. He's walking down the street when the turkey's on the side of the road on the sidewalk and turns into that magical turkey because he's like, I'm so hungry, bro. I can't fucking take it. And it's just like a glowing cutout, like an overlay cutout of glowing turkey. Like, and he's like, oh, and goes to eat this whole thing. And then
So
the
full.
turkey shoots his way out of his stomach. It's like, ha ha, now that's what I call foul play, motherfucker. Ha ha ha. That's this turkey's whole thing. And the turkey, I think, is what makes it kind of fun here and there. It's like, okay, this is super silly. We're taking this to a whole nother level of silliness. But he bursts out of him, and then they go looking for Billy, and that's when we get the whole flashback of Billy and his friend, the nerdy guy, where they're just laying in fields of flowers together and shit. He's like, "You were my best friend. We had ice
Tipping.
cream. Yeah, we had ice cream that one time. It was so good." But then we got to kill this turkey. Maybe they meet up with the hermit at some point, but she learns it's not her dad. He takes the mask off for the big reveal for Johnny, and that's kind of funny. Where
Yeah,
he's like,
yeah.
da, 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 and he's like, ha ha ha. And it, but it's clearly a turkey. Like there's no
It's not even clearly a turkey. It's clearly a hand puppet turkey with
right,
a leather face mask on, with
right.
the stupid mustache still on it.
That's why I feel they had to put it on the father because you had to have it there to be
Yeah,
able to put it on the turkey later
I
on.
get it. I've done that.
But he dies. The nerd kid dies, gets packed all kinds of crazy, maybe in the kitchen or something
They
like that. Or they all
hacked
go to
his
watch
heart
the
out.
movie. Yeah, they all go to watch the movie though.
Oh yeah, and then the dude in the football dude and the chick, like they're like, well, hey, you want to go out? And then they start making out on the floor. So the nerd's like, I guess I'll go rub one out in the bathroom.
Where he went, you're probably right. No, I think he goes to the kitchen or he goes somewhere though and does get packed all crazy, like right into his chest.
Yeah,
Yeah, his heart comes out. And then they were asleep
he's
on,
still alive after his heart comes out. By the way,
oh, that's right. 'Cause Billy's like, bring me to the light. Like, come to me. Come
come
on.
with me, buddy.
Yeah, come on. But
That
you're
part was actually pretty funny.
right. He's still alive for a little while, but not for very much longer. It's kind of like Blood Rage when the woman's cut in half and she's like, ah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Same kind of awesomeness going on here. But he, so, and then those two wake up on the couch and they're like, we have to do this. We got,
there's
but there was the three of them that tried to do the ritual, right? And it didn't work because they tried to trap him in his teepee. He was just on the side of the road in a tiny
yeah,
little bit eating salad.
yeah. So I guess after the fat guy got killed, and then the nerd was all sad and everything, and the fat guy's laying there too, and he's clearly just like holding some real sheep intestines like over his stomach.
Yeah.
But
Ulchi would
yeah,
have made you put them in and put them in your mouth and puke them back out. He'd have been like, "We're making gore movies." Not this weak shit.
Yeah, they go and find a super racist teepee with little turkey prints all over it.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah. And then that's when the guy shows up and he shoots the turkey and the turkey flies into the trash can,
But it's radioactive waste.
but it's there's a radioactive waste bin in there.
And even Johnny's like, oh, that turkey's definitely dead, unless somehow it flew into radioactive waste. But I guess that stuff only happens in the movies.
Yeah.
So now we have a glowing green turkey. And
Yeah.
that's when he gets the kid and pecks his chest out because he's glowing green at that time. Right. Okay. So we've got our two left on the couch. We've got to destroy this turkey. They team up with the hermit somewhere. I know the hermit shows up at the end to like save the day.
Well, Johnny goes into the kitchen and that's when he sees the nerd dead on the floor and then he gets the turkey carving knife in the belly.
Yes. Yes, that's right. And she's like, you gotta stay alive. You gotta make it. And now
Yeah.
it's just her, and somehow she lights him on fire because they learned that you had to throw or burn him at the stake like a witch. And she lights
Yeah.
him and he's on fire and gets launched into it.
She does the whole WD-40 can or the hairspray or whatever and then lights it, which I did in my very first horror movie because it was like the coolest thing I could think of to make fire.
Yeah.
I was like, oh shit, I'm really bad at making movies.
Did that with my brother in the second grade. Maybe I was probably fourth or fifth grade, and he was then he would have been third grade. And I was like, yo, put this motorcycle helmet on. And I covered it in lighter fluid and lit the thing on. It was like all on top of his head. And yeah, it was wild. Either way, she ends up, I feel like we missed something here or there, but she ends up killing the turkey. The turkey goes down the hermit because I feel like at one point the hermit's like, oh yeah, I lost my dog. You kids might have been through some stuff too. And they all just accept it that their parents are all dead and everybody they know is dead, except for the one kid who's like, Billy, Billy, I love you, Billy. But she launches him in there, and then we get a kind of quick snippet of a sequel potential with the turkey coming to life because somebody got the turkey somehow and was going to eat it for Thanksgiving dinner.
Yeah. Yeah. It was like this family and they're doing like sitting around the dinner and they're having a prayer and they do like the whole Lord's Prayer, which made me really uncomfortable.
It's probably the point. Yeah, and then the turkey's like, time for a sequel, maybe, bitch. Bah! And comes flying at the screen. And after an hour and 7 minutes, you have Thanksgilling from 2008. Out of how many turkey puppets do you give Thanksgilling?
You know when the like a Looney Tune like runs away and you just see the smoke left over? That's how much this fucking movie gets.
Go on.
Yeah.
I'm kind of with you, dude. I'm at like a point 0.5.
Yeah, like maybe
Yeah.
because I understand how hard it is to make a
Yeah.
movie. And so I know like it's just hard just to get like everybody together on the same day to like film a scene. So like I get it. So for that, yeah, they get like some credit because you went out there, you did it, and you made something that people are watching and talking about like years later.
Right,
So
right, right. You know what I mean?
kudos to that, dude.
You made a sequel. It's been almost 20 years since the original came out, which is wild to think about. But it is very hard, and I don't think it's aging well. I think a lot of the
Oh,
language,
certainly not. Like the language, dude.
yeah, is it's pretty rough.
Yeah, like there's a lot of other stuff you could watch on Thanksgiving.
Charlie Brown, you could
Thank
watch anything. Yeah, you could watch really almost anything else. I mean, this makes Blood Rage look like a fucking masterpiece.
Sure does.
It ain't
Yeah,
cranberry sauce, hairy, nuts, it ain't cranberry sauce.
sure not.
So yeah, point 0.5 out of so we got to do something good next go around. We've got to
I
just
really need something better this week.
yeah, so maybe we can do something. We're heading into the holiday season, so we'll pick something from that list, something fun. What about I really like Krampus. I'd like to talk about Krampus.
We could do Krampus, yeah.
Krampus is fun, dude. And that's a different level of horror, That's the whole family can sit down and watch Krampus and shit. It's not just it's like Gremlins, you know what I mean? They never take it too far. Like it's got thrills and it's got chills, but it's not a turkey having sex with a woman and being like, "You got stuffed."
Yuck.
Right.
I'm glad that this movie's behind me and I'm never gonna speak of this movie again. So like I'm glad this is all behind me now.
You got another. Okay, so real quick though, if you had to pick between this and Rubber
Fuck,
to watch
dude.
again.
That's a tough one. I will say at least I watched this all the way through. I had to fast forward rubber.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. All right. So let's move on to the mindful part of today's show.
Please. I've never been so excited to talk about the mindful stuff.
And the mindful and the mindful portion is, especially being Thanksgiving, the mindful portion, everybody says, "Oh, what are you thankful for? What are you thankful for?" This, and I'm not going to do a what am I thankful for, just so everybody knows. Like, that's not where this is going.
I thought you were setting that up. I was like, here we go.
Oh, I was thinking about it for a second, but then I was like, no, I want to stick with what I was going to stick with originally. Because sometimes you call that shit on the fly. You just make a little bit of change and you call it on the fly. But this, so I went to get the surgery for the kidney stone,
Right.
and they put a stent in like my
Oh,
ureter.
so you got a little straw in your wiener right now? Like
I
while
don't
I'm
know.
talking
I
to you?
can't really see the straw, but yes, there's got to be. Yeah, there's some sort of, but it's way up there. You know what I mean? Like through the
Oh,
bladder.
I thought it was like hanging out the pee hole.
No, I think sometimes they do a string or something, or they'll do a more permanent one. I don't know. Either way, but came home from this. It's been a rough couple of days peeing and like pissing like blood clots and just like bang and
Oh,
like kidney stones coming out. I know it's even hard to talk about, but it comes and it goes. Like I'll be sitting over top of the toilet with my arm up, just like when I talk about breathing, doing breath work, just try to do one long out breath the whole time I'm pissing because it's just like fucking pain, dude. Like somebody's just punching me in the side. It's these little pieces are the past couple times I've gone, it's been good. So that's been nice. When it is good, I'm like, yo, that's dope that it's good. But this is something you and I have talked about a lot, especially dealing with this shit. But this is something you and I have talked about a lot. The difference between pain and suffering. And you can be in pain but it doesn't, and I'm getting closer to this. I don't think I'm quite there yet because I still feel those like, man, fuck, like this fucking hurts, and stuff
yeah.
like that. But I do feel like I'm getting closer to, okay, just sit in the pain. Like what's here if you just sit with it. And I'm getting a little bit closer to that. But this kidney stone shit, it is something else, man. It punches you. But the difference between pain and suffering is so real. And in our current culture, I feel we have so much more suffering than real pain, but it's causing more damage than actual real pain might cause.
Right.
The suffering is, the suffering of want or of our industry seems fueled by like desire, and you need this, and you got to have this, and you got to have that. This will make you happy. That will make you happy. And then when we don't have that, now we're creating suffering that's not even associated with pain. Because today, earlier, when I was fucking peeing fire, and they got me on some medicine that makes it like lime wire Mountain Dew orange. So my pee is just like straight orange, dude. It's very strange. But I was sitting there peeing that shit out, thinking about all this stuff. And I'm like, even in these moments, these little moments, you can be in pain, but you still don't have to suffer. Because I was trying to justify to myself, like, I'm okay to suffer right here a little bit because I'm going through this. I feel justified in being like, fuck, like, why can't I have it out for something like this? But then I was like, no, because now at the same time, I'm just doing it and it's making an already painful situation worse. And that's tough, when it comes to physical. But a lot of the suffering I see in the world isn't even physical anymore because we got medicines that'll dumb down all your pain, for the most part. It's hard to pee rocks out of your urethra and shit without it hurting a little bit. But we have like, yeah, we'll put you on something, dude. We'll make you feel really comfortable with whatever you got going on. So there's not as much physical pain, but there's so much suffering going on. And that's scary. Like it scares the shit out of me in a lot of ways. Like, what are we doing? because then when you do have the pain coupled with the suffering, now it becomes this like, bruh. I was just watching Black Friday, that Bruce Campbell joint, when the giant, Black Friday monster shows up. I think the suffering monster could be the same way, like, bruh. You keep feeding this motherfucker, and you got this kaiju like beast with just heads and eyes and shit everywhere coming out of it, of suffering inside of you. And then when pain comes along with that, it makes it even harder. And I'm not trying to say that pain isn't real. Pain is very real. I am so well aware. These past like 3 months have taught me to be hyper aware of pain being very real, and right now still kind of going through it. But do we have to suffer? Like the whole time I've been sitting here talking to you, I've been in a certain degree of pain. Like I can feel
Yeah.
it, like in my kidney, going through kind of my bladder, fucking dick feels a little bit on fire, little ow. So I can feel those things. However, it's sitting in it and just being like, I almost feel like the universe just keeps putting it on my plate until I figure out, like, sit in it, be with the pain and see what it's really about, communicate with your body in some way or another, breathe into this, breathe into that. But when we turn pain into suffering, or when we create suffering out of nowhere, then that's not a good thing, because I feel like the mental suffering is almost worse than the physical suffering. You can learn to deal with physical pain, or at least point at it and be like, yeah, it hurts right there. But when you've been in a career that you don't enjoy, or a relationship that's been going downhill, or any number of things for 10, 15 years, and it's the suffering monster continues to grow, like that eats at you in a way that I would almost be like, yeah, give me the kidney stone pain over that level of fucking mental anguish. I would rather deal with that, because you can say yes, it's one of these things, but either way, the suffering and the pain are just radically two different things. And so I would encourage everyone to take the time to look at yourself and be like, where am I suffering? Why am I suffering? And then start peeling back those layers a little bit if you can, and I always recommend get somebody to help you. If you can't do it on your own, get a therapist, get a fucking book. The library's free. Library cards are free and they're dope. Now, if you got an iPad or a phone, you can get audio books, you can get everything without even having to go there physically. Just go there once and get a card. And the library's cool, man. They got all kinds of cool shit. I was in there with my kid not too long ago, and you could rent fucking GoPros, fucking tripods, like a make a movie kit, essentially. I was like, damn, dude, that's pretty rad. Like, good for you, library. Even like a whole camping kit. Like it came with a tent, little gas grill, all this stuff. And I was like, that's cool, man. Give people an opportunity. But either way, pain and suffering, two different things. Whew. Tough to go through both. As I mentioned, me personally, I would probably take the pain over the suffering most of the time, even though I know how to deal with I'm working on how to deal with the pain, like the actual physical pain.
Yeah.
Because I mean, studies have shown people can turn that shit on and off. Or you see the trick where they put, a fake arm behind a thing and hit it with a hammer, and people like feel it and shit like that. The
Yeah.
brain, it is, but the pain response is good because it tells us something's wrong. We can't walk around pain free, or we'd all be fucking gangrene, body parts falling off because we never knew we had a cut somewhere that's now infected and super gross. So pain is important, but I think suffering, the more we can minimize actual suffering, then that also makes the pain a little bit easier to deal with.
I think pain is easier to deal with because no matter how bad it hurts, we know it's temporary. Whereas suffering kind of doesn't have an end in sight. There's no like light at the end of the tunnel. Whereas with pain, you get kicked in the nuts. It fucking sucks when it first happens. Actually, not when it first happens, like that couple seconds after, you're
Yeah.
like, oh no. But then it gets better. And like suffering doesn't. It's like a kick in the nuts that never gets better.
Suffering. I like that. Suffering, a kick in the nuts that never gets better. That should be a fucking slogan, dude. Because you're right. That was a great observation, man. I think you're really onto something there in that suffering, most of the time with physical pain, it is going to, the human body is an amazing thing. It'll start healing itself. There's stories and documentation of people, broken arms and shit, that the bones just slowly work themselves back together and fuse themselves back together. It's wild. The human body's crazy, and it'll, I would hope, take care of the pain thing over the course of time. But with suffering, like you said, if you're in a pit of, darkness, and there is no, like, how do I get out? And that's where we got to be helping each other out and shit right now with that level of suffering, because everybody seems fucking, I don't know, Crazy. I
It's
don't.
like that dude that fell into the crack, that James Franco movie, 127 Hours.
Yeah.
He cut his arm off, dude, with a little knife, and he had to cut through the bone
Yeah.
out of that because the pain wasn't as much as the suffering
Right. Right.
of him slowly dying there. He was like, I would rather cut through my bone with a fucking shitty ass
It's
pocket knife.
Army knife. Yeah. A little Swiss Army saw.
Yeah.
That's why I carry a big saw on me. But he said he kept passing out and fucking wait. Oh, yeah. But that's the
Wake
resilience,
up and do it again.
right? Probably have bugs and birds and shit all looking around you like you about to go, homie.
Right.
Yeah, we're gonna
Yeah.
eat you out here in these rocks. But pain and suffering, man, you got to separate the two. We have to separate the two, help each other separate the two. Don't create new suffering for others. I think we all have enough suffering to carry around because there is an idea that I think an argument could be made that you almost need suffering in order to truly know non-suffering.
Yeah.
But I think we have enough of a surplus of suffering between all of us that we could just ride like transforming some of that into non-suffering for a while before we're like, oh, we need new suffering so we know what happy feels like. I think we got a long way to go with that. So try not to be somebody else's suffering, a cause of somebody else's suffering. And hopefully you can find a way to mend your own. Be cool with it. And if you got pain,
Just breathe through that shit. Don't be a pussy.
I don't know. Sometimes it's hard. I told you before, I did 3 straight days on my back tattoo, the entire back, dude. And it
Dang.
was, yeah, there was quite a while. But then when I recently, not recently, this was when I was first getting into the meditation stuff. I was on a tattoo table and sat there for about 25 minutes and meditated away all the pain. I couldn't even feel it anymore. I was just completely almost like somewhere else. Like my body was getting worked on, but I was just like, yeah, we're good here. Don't worry about that. Let's get to a different place. But being in a tattoo studio, as soon as somebody's around, and shit like that, then you kind of come out of it and do that sort of thing. But who knows? Maybe one day if I got a place where I can put my clients in like some headphones and be like, okay, I'm gonna breathe you through some of this shit while I'm working on you and just follow along. No pain, no something, whatever. We'll figure it out. But yeah, I'm hoping though my pain's almost over. I do hope that that's coming to an end soon. This kidney stone ride's been a while.
I've had a kidney stone, dude. It's the fucking worst. So like I give you all the respect
And this has
for
been
having to go
three
through that.
months, dude. 3 months.
Yeah, that's gnarly, dude.
Yeah, on and off, just like ah, ah, ah. Here's some Tylenol, make it happen. But I'm very thankful. I even told all the people that helped me out in the process. I was like, yo, dude, like, thank you, doctor. They put me under the anesthesia, right? And I'm on the table, I'm getting ready to go. And I wake up and I think I haven't even gone into surgery yet.
All
And
right.
the lady, I'm laughing kind of, and I'm like, "Yo, you should tell them when they do the surgery to look at my Earl Sinclair dinosaur tattoo on my leg." I was like, "This shit's hilarious." And she's like, "Babe, we're already done." She's like, "It's already over," and I'm like, "Ah, great." Then I was home the same day, but then there was one night when it just like hit so hard and I couldn't piss, jumped in the shower, had it like pounding on my back, some hot water, just doing that kidney stone dance. And then it just popped like a blood clot and a piece of stone, just like bang, straight out. And that was like the worst of it that it's been so far. And it's been getting progressively a little bit better with each day. So I'm hoping it keeps moving that way. But yeah, kidney stones ain't no joke, dude. I will never. If somebody told me they had a kidney stone, I'm like, you're fucking tough, dude. I could probably
Yeah.
I could probably tattoo your fucking, eyeball and you'd be okay because yeah, you go through that shit. It can be really, really painful. And as I'm going through it these past couple of months, I looked up the world record, right? Over 5,000 from one individual.
Oh,
And then the biggest one was like bigger than like a softball or something like that that they had to cut open and surgically remove. Oh,
ugh.
yeah. It's making me hurt just sitting here talking about it.
Yeah. Like, do not listen to them when they tell you milk will do a body good. Ugh.
Yeah, that's that's tough.
Milk will make
So,
kidney.
right. So that's it. Did you have anything else you wanted to add? I know you said anything else to the pain and suffering of the world.
Yeah, no, I mean, I just agree with you that like I think that there's so much suffering because there hasn't been any pain I always go back to this stuff like World War II, where like all your friends and neighbors are going off dying. It was you couldn't be like, yeah, I'm fucking sad today. Like no one was gonna be like, oh, really, buddy?
Yeah.
Because there's so much
Then
suffering or stuff going on. But
But then the neighbors, you know what I mean, who do come back, then they're told, oh, you can't talk about your actual suffering, like what you went through, because like PTSD is some real shit. You know what I
right.
mean? Those guys went through, I can't even imagine some of it, man. Like we watch it on TV and we're like, oh, look at these fucking heroes. But when you really close your eyes and think about, put your eyes right there with
Mhm.
these dudes that were on the ground for 60 days at a time in trenches and shit, just fucking rotten feet and boots and tear gas in World War One and or chemical warfare. Yeah, all the, you know what I mean? It's crazy. And then you throw them into
Yeah.
Vietnam and then you come back and you're like, you're a piece of shit. It's
Yeah.
like, the fuck, dude. I didn't even want to go. I didn't
Right.
even, yeah. And it hasn't been any easier, everybody coming back post 9/11. Fucking crazy shit went on over there for a long time, a really long time. For a while there, I met some guys when I was at the hospital. I met some dudes that were like, dude, we were over there, essentially like day one. And they were like, it's the wild fucking West, man. Like, we didn't even have armor plating for our Humvees. We were just packing up sandbags, like hoping for the best, didn't know where you were going, didn't know who was this, who was that. That fucks with you in a very real way. And we got to take care of those people 1,000% better than we are right now. Not to say that we're not trying and we're not doing good, but it's still like 22 vets a day, and that's never going to be okay. Or we could just stop fucking warring and educate a bunch of people and see what happens. Maybe we could get to Star Trek. That would be dope. Like, hey, let's forget about war and money and just explore the sciences. For the Horror Pop Extravaganza, episode 54, I have been Pops Ghostly,
And I'm Harry Nuts.
and we'll talk to you next week. Nuts.
No! No! No!
Extravaganza.